Aliens SOS sparks a response from the Deathworlder fleet. The message came in as a faint pulse on the Galactic Distress Channel, a fragmented cry for help broadcast from the edge of a dying star system. The plea was unmistakably alien, its tones warbling with desperation, despite the universal translators struggling to parse it. One phrase cut through clearly: SOS, assistance needed. Extinction imminent. Most of the Galactic Alliance hesitated. The system was deep in uncharted territory, near the fringes where only the most resourceful and reckless would dare venture. The Deathworlders, however, did not hesitate. The Deathworlders were humanity, the galactic newcomers whose reputation had spread faster than their diplomatic efforts. Known for their resilience and audacity, their home world, Earth, was categorized as a Class 12 Deathworld, a planet so perilous that life there was deemed improbable. Yet humanity thrived, and their fleet, though small compared to other civilizations, was a force to be reckoned with. Captain Mara Voss of the Resolute stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the holographic projection of the distressed system. Her crew, a mix of humans and a few daring alien allies, worked with quiet efficiency. "Any updates on the distress signal?" she asked. Lieutenant Kiran Patel glanced up from his console. "Still fragmented, Captain, but we've pinpointed its origin, a station orbiting a collapsing gas giant. They're using ancient tech, barely holding together." Mara nodded. "Prepare the fleet for jump, we're going in." The crew exchanged uneasy glances but didn't argue. This was the Deathworlder way, running toward danger, not away from it. The Resolute and its escort ships emerged from hyperspace into chaos. The gas giant loomed, its swirling storms illuminated by the flickering light of a failing station. Fragments of debris orbited chaotically, hinting at recent destruction. "Scans show multiple life signs aboard the station," Patel reported. "They're in critical condition, and, Captain, there's something else. Bio readings indicate they're aquatic." "Aquatic," Mara frowned. "That explains the strange tonal structure of their distress call. Get the rescue teams ready, and alert the medical bay. This will be a first for everyone." As the Resolute approached, a new complication arose. A fleet of automated drones, likely ancient defense systems, powered up and began firing. Mara's jaw tightened. "Shields up, return fire, but keep it precise. We can't risk destabilizing the station." The Deathworlders' ships danced through the drone swarm, their superior maneuverability and adaptive tactics quickly turning the tide. Within minutes, the path to the station was clear. The rescue team, clad in adaptive suits designed for harsh environments, entered the station. Inside, they found the alien survivors, squid-like beings with iridescent skin, their bodies adapted for water but now languishing in air-filled chambers as their life support systems failed. One of the aliens extended a trembling tentacle toward the team leader, Lieutenant Sophia Ramirez. Its bioluminescent patterns pulsed weakly, conveying gratitude even as its strength waned. "We've got you," Sophia said softly, activating a translator drone. "You're safe now." The team worked swiftly, stabilizing the aliens and transferring them to tanks aboard the Resolute. The last survivor, a smaller alien with a damaged tentacle, emitted a soft, musical tone. The translator rendered it as, "Thank you, Deathworlders." Back on the ship, Mara stood before the alien leader, now recovering in a specialized aquatic tank. Its bioluminescence flashed in complex patterns. "The collapse of your station wasn't natural, was it?" Mara asked. The translator processed the alien's reply. "No. We fled our home world, pursued by a force that seeks to extinguish us. They will come here, they will come for you." Mara's eyes narrowed. "Let them try." The Deathworlder fleet returned to the Galactic Alliance, the rescued aliens in tow. News of the daring mission spread like wildfire, solidifying humanity's reputation as fearless saviors. And when the unknown force arrived, they found not just the remnants of a fleeing race but the full might of the Deathworlder fleet waiting for them. Chapter 2: The Hunters Arrive. The Deathworlder fleet was on high alert. The alien survivors, calling themselves the Virellans, had been moved to a secure medical station while the Resolute and its fleet fortified the sector. The Virellans' warning about their pursuers, cryptically referred to as the Hunters, hung heavy over the crew. Mara Voss leaned over the strategy table in the fleet's command hub, watching as holograms of defense grids and ship formations populated the space around the station. Her officers surrounded her, their expressions varying from grim determination to outright fear. "We have no idea what we're up against," said Commander Elias Morrow, her second-in-command. "The Virelans were too weak to give us much detail, and their records are in a language our systems can barely decode." Lieutenant Patel chimed in, "But we know this much: the hunters are relentless. They wiped out the Virelans' homeworld and chased their survivors halfway across the galaxy. They won't stop until they finish the job." Mara straightened. "Then we make them stop. Humanity has faced extinction before, we didn't roll over then, and we're not starting now. I want all ships at full combat readiness. If these hunters want to fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget." The room filled with a chorus of affirmations. The Deathworlders thrived on impossible odds, and this was no exception. The arrival. 2 days later, the first signs of the hunters appeared. Long-range sensors detected a disturbance in hyperspace, an ominous ripple that sent chills through the most battle-hardened officers. "They're here," Patel announced. The fleet assembled, the Resolute at its center. The Hunters' fleet emerged, their ships unlike anything seen before, organic in design, with shifting carapaces that seemed to pulsate with a malevolent life of their own. "Bioorganic ships," Morrow muttered. "Lovely. That's going to complicate things." The Hunters wasted no time. They advanced in eerie silence, their ships exuding an oppressive aura. But the Deathworlders were ready. "Open fire," Mara commanded. The first volley from the Deathworlder fleet was a symphony of controlled destruction. Railguns, plasma cannons, and missile barrages lit up the void. The Hunters retaliated with energy weapons that rippled through space like molten lightning. Their ships absorbed damage in unnatural ways, their hulls regenerating almost as quickly as they were hit. The turning point. Hours into the battle, it was clear the Hunters weren't just fighting, they were adapting. Every tactic the Deathworlders employed was countered with increasing efficiency. Mara paced the bridge, her mind racing. "Suggestions?" she barked. Patel hesitated. "Captain, I think we need to outsmart their adaptations. If they're bioorganic, maybe we can use that against them. Overload their systems, disrupt their communication." Mara's eyes lit up. "A virus. Something to throw their biotech into chaos." Morrow nodded. "We've got the Virelans' data now. Even if it's incomplete, it might have a clue." "Do it," Morrow ordered. "Get our science team on it. We'll hold the line." As the fleet continued to engage the Hunters, a breakthrough came. The Virelan leader, now stable enough to communicate more effectively, provided key insights into the Hunters' biology. Their ships, it turned out, relied on a neural network. Destroying the central nodes would cripple their entire fleet. The Deathworlder Gambit. Mara outlined her plan. The fleet would deploy decoys to draw the Hunters into a trap, while a specialized strike team, led by Mara herself, infiltrated the largest enemy ship to deploy a neural disruptor. "Captain, this is insane," Morrow protested. "You're the fleet commander, you shouldn't be out there." Mara smirked. "If I'm asking my people to risk their lives, I'll do the same. Besides, I've got the best team in the galaxy backing me up." The strike team boarded a stealth frigate and slipped past the battle lines. The Hunter's mothership loomed ahead, a grotesque amalgamation of flesh and metal. As they breached its outer hull, the ship seemed to react, its walls pulsating and closing in around them. "Stay sharp," Mara warned. "We're in their brain now." The team fought their way to the core, a massive, pulsating node of bioorganic matter. The neural disruptor was deployed, and the countdown began. Victory. Back on the Resolute, Morrow watched as the Hunter fleet faltered. Ships ceased firing, their movements erratic. One by one, they began to collapse, their bioorganic systems shutting down. Mara's voice crackled over the comm. "Mission accomplished. We're coming home." Cheers erupted across the fleet. The Deathworlders had done the impossible, turning the tide against a seemingly invincible foe. Aftermath. The Virelans, now safe under Deathworlder protection, pledged their loyalty and gratitude. The Galactic Alliance, initially skeptical of humanity's boldness, began to see them as more than just brash newcomers. They were protectors, willing to stand against threats others wouldn't dare face. As the fleet prepared for its next mission, Mara stood on the bridge, gazing out at the stars. Humanity's legacy was growing, one impossible victory at a time. And she knew this was only the beginning. Chapter 3, The Hunter's Legacy. The galaxy was quieter now, but silence often preceded storms. The Hunter's fleet was obliterated, their neural network severed and their advance halted. Yet, Captain Mara Voss couldn't shake the gnawing feeling that their victory wasn't complete. "Something doesn't add up," she muttered, staring at the holographic display of the battlefield aftermath. "We'd destroyed their ships, but we don't know where they came from or if they're truly gone." Commander Morrow joined her at the strategy table, his expression grim. "Scans of the wreckage are inconclusive. Most of their biotech disintegrated after we disabled the network, but we recovered fragments. And they're broadcasting something, a beacon?" Mara's eyes narrowed. "A distress signal?" Morrow shook his head. "No, it's coordinates. They're pointing to a system far beyond the galactic core." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Hunters hadn't just attacked blindly, they had a base, perhaps even an origin point. "Prepare the fleet," Mara said decisively. "We're not waiting for them to rebuild, we're taking the fight to them." A journey to the unknown. The coordinates led the fleet to a region of space rarely explored, a place shrouded in myths and warnings. The system was a graveyard of planets, each one barren and lifeless, orbiting a dim, dying star. The only structure of note was a massive, alien construct orbiting the innermost planet, a fortress-like station pulsing faintly with the same bioorganic energy as the Hunters' ships. As the fleet approached, sensors picked up faint signals. Patel, scanning the data, looked up with a mix of dread and awe. "It's alive. The entire station is some kind of bioorganic superstructure, and it's waking up." Mara's face hardened. "Then we shut it down, send a scout team." "No, wait," she paused, considering. "We're dealing with something far beyond standard protocol. I'm going in with the lead team." Morrow opened his mouth to argue but saw the resolve in her eyes and relented. "Just promise me you'll come back." Inside the hive, the infiltration team descended onto the station's surface, their ship's hull groaning under the oppressive gravitational pull. The structure seemed to breathe, its surface pulsating with eerie, rhythmic movements. As they entered, the walls glistened with a slick, organic film, and the air was thick with a strange, humid mist. "This place is a nightmare," Ramirez whispered, her rifle scanning the corridor ahead. "Focus," Mara replied. "The core should be at the center, that's our target." As they advanced, the station seemed to react to their presence. Walls shifted, pathways closed off, and strange, insectoid drones emerged to engage them. The team fought valiantly, their Deathworlder training proving invaluable, but it was clear the station was testing them, learning their tactics, just as the Hunters had. The heart of the enemy. Reaching the core chamber, Mara and her team found what they had feared, a massive, pulsating entity, suspended in a web of organic tendrils. It was a grotesque amalgamation of neural tissue, biomechanical machinery, and something alive. The core emitted a low, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate in their very bones. Patel's voice crackled over comms from the fleet. "Captain, we're detecting massive energy surges. Whatever you're seeing, it's preparing to do something big." Mara approached the core cautiously. "Is this their queen, or something worse?" As if in response, the entity pulsed violently, and a booming voice filled the chamber, not from the core, but directly in their minds. "You think you've won? You've only prolonged the inevitable." The team staggered under the psychic assault. Ramirez gritted her teeth. "It's in our heads." Mara steadied herself, her gaze fixed on the core. "Not for long." They planted the disruptor device, its mechanisms primed to overload the core's neural network. As the countdown began, the core fought back, sending waves of drones and psychic attacks. The team held their ground, buying precious seconds as the device activated. Escape and revelation. The disruptor detonated, unleashing a cascade of energy that rippled through the station. The core convulsed, its tendrils snapping like dry twigs, and the entire structure began to collapse. "Move, now," Mara shouted. The team sprinted back to their ship, the station crumbling around them. They barely escaped as the structure imploded, sending shockwaves through the system. Back on the Resolute, The fleet watched as the station's remains were swallowed by the dying star. Cheers erupted, but Mara's expression remained somber. The truth unveiled. Later, in the briefing room, Patel analyzed the data from the mission. "Captain, there's something you need to see." The hologram displayed fragments of encoded messages recovered from the station. After hours of decryption, a chilling realization emerged. The Hunters were not a standalone force, they were one of many creations of a greater intelligence, a civilization that seeded bioorganic armies across the galaxy to ensure its dominance. "This wasn't just a hive," Patel said, "it was a factory, a relay, and there are more out there." Mara leaned back in her chair, her jaw tightening. "Then this isn't over. We've stopped them here, but the galaxy isn't safe yet." She stood, her gaze steely. "We'll find every last one of these factories, and we'll tear them down." To be continued. The Deathworlders had won another battle, but the war against the Hunters, and their creators, was far from over. Humanity had proven its strength, its resilience, and its unyielding resolve, but the galaxy was vast, and the true enemy remained hidden in the shadows, waiting to strike again.